JWW on the move. Bigfoot and I are taking a little brief road trip south of St. Cloud. Come on along with us. Museum of Winter Haven History. Good morning, everyone. Jim Williams here, coming to you from the beautiful paradise of Central Florida. JWW on the move. Today is April 18 in the year of our Lord 2026, and I have found my way down to Winter Haven, Florida. And I'm meeting up today with a friend of mine.
Hello, everybody.
Greg.
Adventures by George.
That's what I'm trying to say. You got a quicker mind than I do, brother.
I have multiple channels, so it confuses folks. So just say Adventures by George. That's what it is. I live here in Winter Haven, and I thought today I would show Mr. Williams around the town, show him all the exciting sights here in the town, and I figured we would start here at the Winter Haven History Museum.
I'm looking forward to it, brother.
All right,
when you see that stage, Greg, what's the first thing pops in your head?
The Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Back to the Future.
Exactly. I can almost see Marty up there playing.
Almost. We're in the Cypress Garden room now, and I'm going to let Greg give us a quick rundown of what we see in the room.
Oh, well, a lot of artifacts from Cypress Gardens. It was created by Dick and Julie Pope back in 1936, I believe. Well known for skiing. The story goes that there was some servicemen there at the park one day, and they were looking kind of bored. They were asking for, "Where's the ski show? Where's the ski show?" And Julie Pope knew that her son and his friends were skiers. So she asked her son, "Hey, can you get out there and pull off a ski show for the servicemen?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, let's go ahead and do it." So that's how the ski show at Cypress Gardens started. Long time ago. And then over here you see the Cypress Belle dresses over here.
I remember going to Cypress Gardens in my youth and seeing all of this beauty.
The Cypress Belles came about because, again, you'll see Julie Pope here on this picture, Dick and Julie Pope. She had seen some dead vines on the side of one of the buildings or whatever, and she had asked the girls to dress up in these bell gowns in order to hide the dead vines that were there in the front of the park.
Carol Burnett skiing at Cypress Gardens. Johnny Carson skiing at Cypress Gardens. Photograph of Elvis Presley playing a piano while he was here in the area.
Look at this. This is crazy. Look at how many skiers are in this photograph here. This was from Easy to Love. They filmed this for real. It wasn't CGI. It was actually, they really had to get all these
Back
people.
then, they had to actually do it.
They had to get skiers out there, yeah.
Wow. This photograph was in Look magazine. Does anyone living today remember Look magazine?
Now, the first Ford Edsel was sold, actually purchased by someone, a resident here in Winter Haven.
Oh, wow.
Mr. And Mrs. Frank Zeller.
Frank Zeller, I see that.
Yeah.
And they were a member of the Florida Edsel Club. I always wanted a roll-top desk. So, one day, Mama Woo, I probably wasn't supposed to open that. One day, Mama Woo bought me a roll-top desk. An interesting photograph. You know anything about it?
Well, only from what I was told, that it is the oldest photograph of Winter Haven from 1909. And Harry Snell's store. I wonder if that's related to the Snell Bank that we
I don't know.
Maybe we'll see later. And then this was the oldest building, first commercial and residential structure built in Winter Haven.
That's not a plastic model. That looks like a carved wooden model.
That'd be a handmade boat created by Ulysses Simpson Huggins. back in the 20s and 30s. So Winter Haven is known as the Chain of Lakes City because you can see all these lakes that are like linked together. They actually dredged out all of these canals between the different lakes
to connect them,
to connect all of them.
Make a chain of lakes.
Exactly. So you could start all the way down here at Lake Winterset, hop in your boat, and go all the way up here to Lake Rochelle.
And what did you say that was called?
That is a time clock kept to used to keep track of employees' work hours.
Punching a time clock had real meaning back then. Look at that punchy thing right there. How would you like to get punched by that?
I have no idea how this thing even works. What are you supposed to do?
Well, don't put your finger in there. That's for sure.
That's a bad idea for sure.
Aren't you glad we came over to the museum? Are these special seats for the Three Stooges?
Very well could be. So you got Mo in the middle, Larry on the left, and Curly on the right.
There you go. Kind of reminds me of chairs you would see in a church.
That's what I thought.
An old church,
That's what I thought at first.
Winter Haven History Museum.
Did you learn lots of history?
I did. My goodness. Bigfoot's got a big brother. A twin brother.
Siblings these days.
Yeah, I think so. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. All right. Now, that's an interesting McDonald's hamburger sign. What's the story with this?
Well, this sign has been here for many, many years from back in the day, but from what I understand, there's only 10 of these left.
Man, that's seriously old school. Look at that. Go ahead.
There's only 10 of these signs left here in America, and a couple of years ago, probably like 10 or so, there was a hurricane came through here and really damaged the sign significantly. But the owners of the restaurant loved it so much, they decided to go ahead and rebuild it. So this is basically brand new.
Wow. Wow. I remember when they used to post how many billions of hamburgers they sold. This is an important part of Winter Haven history. Graham Parsons was a pioneer in the transition of country music into rock music back in the 60s. And he was a solo singer. He was in some bands. I think he was in the Byrds.
He was in the Byrds.
There we go.
Right there. In 1969, he founded the country rock band, the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Burrito. I heard that. Yeah. Flying Burrito Brothers.
And he...
Genre Blending.
Genre Blending?
Yeah.
Solo albums with then unknown folk singer. You've heard of Emmylou Harris.
Emmylou Harris. This guy was an impactful personality in his day.
This is the Dairy Down, which is a building built in 64 for Graham Parsons by his stepfather. And it was meant as a venue for him to, for his band to play. And then since then, in 2013, it was rebuilt. I guess it had probably fallen into disrepair over the years, but it was rebuilt, and then now it is also another musical venue.
All right then. You ever come here to sing?
Not recently. You don't want to hear me sing, that's for sure.
Who knows? You never know. It might happen. Let's see. You were telling me there's a movie about Graham.
Yes, and my mind just blanked on what the title of the movie. Grand Theft Parsons was the name of the movie. I knew if I thought about it for 2 seconds, I'd remember.
Grand Theft Parsons. Now it's not Grand Theft, but it's Graham.
That's a
Gramm.
It's an interesting alliteration. I should have caught that.
Cool. And that's the Chamber of Commerce you were telling me.
Correct. That is a Gene Leedy building. Now, if you have any viewers on here who are architects or fans of architects, they will 100% know the name Gene Leedy. And if you look at the building itself, there's a certain characteristic of this building. You see like the slats on the side,
right?
Where they're kind of like exposed supports there. That's his signature.
That's part of his style.
Yes. One of many buildings here in Winter Haven that was created by architect Gene Leedy.
And he built a bunch.
He built a bunch. This is the one that's easiest to find.
What you got there, Greg?
Well, these are mine. You can't have any of these.
What are they?
Well, here, let me show you. show you. Oh my goodness.
You gonna eat them there donuts?
I'm gonna eat all 6 of them.
Can I have one?
Well,
Can I have 2?
yeah, I guess.
All right, then. Hey, Greg. Greg. Hey, Greg! Wake up,
yes.
dude, man. You're
What?
driving. You're driving. You got to be waking up there.
Man. Gee, okay, what are we doing?
I want you to sing a song with me.
Sing a song. Okay, I can do it.
All right. Do you know the Ho 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 song? The Ho 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 Who Wouldn't Go song?
Of
You know
course,
that?
everybody knows that song.
There we go. All right, here we go.
Okay.
We're going to sing it. Sing along with me now.
Sing along.
Here we go.
Sing along.
1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. Ho, 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 who would go? Ho, 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 who would go? Up on the housetop. Well, that's
Up on the housetop.
click, click, click,
click.
down through the chimney with good Saint Nick.
Saint Nick.
Boy, we screwed that up, didn't we?
Yeah. Let's do that again.
All right. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop. Click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good
old
Saint Nick.
There we go. I think I got it.
Nailed it.
58 4th Street Northwest is the first Publix store.
The very first Publix store.
The very first Publix. This is was George Jenkins' store
So Mr. Jenkins opened his store here
in I believe it was 1930.
1930, I believe it
This
was.
was the first Publix store that he had for like 10 years.
Is it still an operational store?
It's been back and forth as to what it is. I think it was a Mexican restaurant at one point, and I do remember eating in there, and I never even knew that it was the first Publix.
But after about 10 years now, he opened another store. Is that right?
Correct. It's around the corner. He built it as his food. He called it the Food Palace, I believe.
Food Palace, yep.
Yep.
Believe he did.
And it was like his dream store that he wanted to build. And it had all the accoutrements. You know, it had air conditioning, and it had
Had the automatic doors.
had the automatic doors.
All this was new stuff back in 1940.
I know, can you imagine?
That was revolutionary in that day. Is that still open? That store still open?
It is. It's around the corner.
We can go see that.
We can even go inside if you want. So I've absconded with Mr. Williams' camera so we can take a look at the first Publix. Just gonna pop inside here, just take a look. And as you can see, it's nothing but sand inside at the moment. Eventually they'll build a store here, but as you can see, we have the sign right here. First Publix store, 1930. This is the Ritz Theater, which is also a landmark. There's a marker right there on the side.
Somebody left their jacket on a pole. Maybe the post was cold.
That's probably it. You know, the post was cold and the guy walked by and thought, you know, let me warm up this
Warm
post.
up the post, yeah.
Warm up the post.
And this now is the second Publix. This was the Publix Food Palace, I think was one of the terms it was called back in the day. Look at that classic design that forever was the Publix design. Same building. I like those that glass stuff on the top of the building there. Look at this mural.
Get a nice close shot of that. Probably should get a little further away.
That's fine. That's fine. There's an image that's supposed to depict Jesus, and then I'm guessing some of those are his disciples, and I think probably that's Mary, I'm guessing, off the top of my head, and then some more disciples. And now this is actually a Christian bookstore, is that right?
It's a Christian thrift store, I believe, so it has books and knickknacks and all kinds of old.
And look at there. Forever embedded in the tile work of the front door of this original Publix is the name Publix. If they were to take that out, they would have to rip up the whole tile of the door of the entrance to the building. I think that's the exit door.
Yes.
And I think that, over here now on the right side, that's the in door.
In for north?
Out. No, in. For in.
In.
Go in here. All right, we just went inside the first Publix.
We did it. We went inside the first Publix.
We did. Great. All right, you just said something that has got to be documented for posterity.
Well, I was just going to say, I always pull up my map on my car here, even though I know where I'm going. I always pull that up,
Right.
because I call it my security blanket. And do you remember Charlie Brown?
I remember the comic strip, Charlie Brown, yes.
In the cartoon and everything?
Right.
Well, my grandmother, back in the day, she always used to call me Charlie Brown. I don't know why, but maybe it had something to do with the fact that I never knew where I was going. I was always lost, always confused.
That could be it. I told Greg that I wanted to see the 3 oldest church buildings in Winter Haven. So one of those is this building, massive brick structure. That was the style back in the 20s. And the cornerstone there, you see, it says 1925. This is the First Presbyterian Church. 1925, one of the 3 oldest church buildings in Winter Haven. All right, you say this name of this lake is Lake Silver.
Correct. This is Lake Silver.
And what's significant about Lake Silver?
This is where they have the ski show every 4th Sunday. And it is called the Cypress Gardens Ski Team. No connection to the old Cypress Gardens. But every 4th Saturday they come out and they do a free ski show. And it's right here in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park on the shores of Lake Silver.
Here we're coming up on the Donut Man. The Donut Man donut place from which you got the donuts.
Were they delicious or what? This memorial was dedicated in honor and memory of those who served this country during times of armed conflict. And we're right here in front of the Department of Transportation.
Erected in 1975. And that gentleman will be forever embedded on YouTube. And he doesn't even know. All right, we're at the Zion Hill Missionary Baptist Church. This is purported to be the first congregation in Winter Haven. First church building. Now, this obviously is not the original church building, but it is the original location, organized in the late 1800s, between, say, 1890s and the 1901s or somewhere in there.
Wow, okay.
Florence Villa Training School for Negroes replaced an earlier African-American school built in 1916 on the corner of 2nd and Palmetto Street. By 1922, the first school was in disrepair, and classes were held at the Colored Methodist Episcopal Church. Seeing the need for a permanent campus, local white physician Dr. Mary Jewett, in March of 1924, approached the Board of Public Education with construction plans and an offer. I lost my place.
You said Mary Jewett, and I think Miss Mary Jewett was one of the founders of the women's club that we were at earlier today, which is the museum now.
Okay, after 3 weeks of meandering around Winter Haven, we have finally found Polk State College.
You see the architecture on that building, very similar to what I was showing you at the.
I see that.
The
Downtown
Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
That could be Gene Leedy's construction right there. I feel like it is.
That's a pretty large campus. I imagine this began as a community college originally.
It was, yes.
Hey guys, what's up? You dancing there for me? And at long last, we have finally found the First Christian Church building. The First Christian Church building is part of a movement that developed in the early 1820s here in America called the Restoration Movement. They wanted to simply return to the original Word of God wanting people to be just Christians. That movement was one of the largest growing movements in the mid-1800s here in America. It was part of what they called the Second Great Awakening. So now we have seen the three oldest, earliest churches in Winter Haven. Pink chairs. I'm guessing pink is the signature color. Yeah. Yeah. Pink. The signature color. Shades of Abbey Road. There's a takeoff on the Beatles' Abbey Road. Kind of cute. No shoes. Paul with no shoes on there. Got the chicken feet. I think I'm gonna go with that quack chicken cob. Okay, sweetheart, I'm actually eating a healthy salad. I just wanted you to know that. I can't speak for Greg, but I'm eating a healthy salad. What you got over there, brother?
This is called the, I like to rename it My Guy Ain't Hungry. It was actually called My Girl Ain't Hungry. I'm like, well, I can do it if it's my guy. So it's just a single tender, some fries, and some honey mustard.
Cool. And I got a Cobb salad. You know why they call it a Cobb salad?
Because Mr. Cobb created it?
That was the one.
Yes.
I used to think when I first got one, I kept looking for the corn cob.
They didn't include my corn cob.
Where's my corn cob? Historic Pewsville neighborhood. Pewsville was one of Winter Haven's earliest neighborhoods, populated predominantly by African Americans. These individuals cleared land, settled in what was now the southwest section of the city. For many decades, Pewsville remained a vibrant and thriving community. Pewsville was named in honor of one of the earliest black pioneers, the Reverend Charles Pew, who was one of the founders of one of the oldest black churches in Pewsville, Zion Hill Missionary Baptist Church. Pewsville boasted three other churches: Bethel AME, St. Paul Holiness, and the Church of Christ. During the peak of its existence, the 1900s to the 1950s, Pewsville had an African American school, social halls, small grocery stores, and restaurants. Many residents worked in the citrus industry, but others were restaurant owners, business professionals, educators, construction workers, and domestic workers. Still, others worked in local, state, and federal government jobs. Pewsville produced Winter Haven's first African American commissioner, medical doctor, mayor, firefighter, and postal worker. The original Pewsville began to decline during the late 1970s as larger commercial establishments began arriving in the area, driving up the property value. Historical marker. And it looks like this historical marker was commissioned and it looks like this historical marker was dedicated on 2007. History.
Well, what's interesting is that Zion Hill Missionary Baptist, we went over to that earlier.
We did, yes.
We saw that.
And the one that says Church of Christ, I was explaining to you the Restoration Movement. So that Disciples Church may have originally been that Church of Christ.
Oh, interesting.
But in my research, I missed the St. Paul Holiness Church. But we got what we got, and we got what we got. We're going to check out the treasure house, see what kind of unique antiques we can find. And we start with an antique skeleton and an antique bat. What kind of fish is that? I'm thinking of blowfish, but I could be wrong. I saw this, thought that it might be a picture of progressive currency in the United States. However, it's not. It's simply 8 Federal Reserve notes. Do you remember when men used to wear ties? And then not just ties, these are like amazingly decorative, colorful ties. There's a cartoon tie. Kind of makes me think of all the colored flashes of color back in the 60s and 70s. Now, I think this is a rather unique style. I've seen lots of pottery like this with the blue decorative drawings and things. I can't think of what the name of it is. What did you say it was?
Well, my grandmother had a lot of plates that looked very similar to that, and it was called Old Flow Blue. I'm not sure if this qualifies as that, but it kind of reminds me of it.
I'll go with that. You know what this is?
This would be a cigar box.
That is a cigar box.
Have a Tampa.
Have a Tampa cigars. When I was a kid, I was working, my first job was working in a family grocery store, and they sold everything. And I worked behind the candy counter, which also was the tobacco counter and all that. No telling how many cigars I sold to people through the years. Have a Tampa was one of them. 10 cents each. Look at that.
Did you sell them in these boxes as well?
These were,
boxes?
They came in these kind of boxes. Seemed like we took them out and put them under the glass counter. But that, I remember the name and the cigar box. Yep. We used to rent video players and videotapes back in the day.
And look at this Fonzie jacket right here.
Hey,
that is awesome. Wow. Did you ever watch Happy Days?
Oh my goodness, yes. I don't think that would fit me.
It's beautiful though.
It is. When was the last time you used a ruler like this? It folds out. See how it folds out like that? And you measure stuff out. Old school stuff, man. Cool. Who is the guy with the carrot nose? Peter, Paul, and Mary. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. Another vlogger was just doing a quick snippet, put his camera away and hopped in the car. Greg, man, it's been a great day.
Well, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you today, sir.
I appreciate it. It's been a blessing. Greg helped me by driving me around and holding me up instead of letting me fall and stumble and all that garbage.
Did you learn anything today?
I had learned a lot of stuff today.
Yeah.
A lot of history, a lot of interesting things. Winter Haven's a place I'll probably come back again because there's still a lot more to see.
There is. There's a ton. We got to see the ski show one of these days.
One day.
Yeah, we'll have to come back for that.
That'll work.
We're here in front of the Winter Haven History Museum, where we started.
We started there.
We're right back where we started.
Yep. And we're ending there today. And we're ending there too. Well, that's going to do it for the end of my video. Thanks for joining me. Thanks again, Greg.
You're welcome.
If the Lord wills, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Stop slapping me, man. I'll let you talk again. Go ahead.
great. I've been dying to say that.
Wow.
Great.